Canto 3, Chapter 6, text number 39. The wonderful potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is bewildering even to the jugglers. That potential power is unknown even to the self-sufficient Lord. So it is certainly unknown to others. If someone says that I know God, he's a rascal number one. It's not possible to know God by our own imperfect, limited intelligence, as explained in this verse. Because the most jugglers, whom you call as a juggler, the person who is really expert in making fool out of others, is really expert in that thing, because he knows how to juggle the things. And here it is said, Ato Bhagavato Maya Mayinam api Mohina. Who are Mayina, mean mysterious, who can juggle with others' intelligence. For them also, the bewildering potency of the Lord is bewildering. And even Lord himself, self-sufficient Lord, he is not able to understand his own powers, then what to speak of people like us. Further in the purport, Prabhupada says, the froggish philosophers and mundane wranglers in science and mathematical calculation may not believe in the inconceivable potency of the Lord. May not believe. Actually, no one believes in the import. That's the problem. The today's world, no one has a full faith in Lord's potencies. Generally, they think by their own capacities and by their own, what we can say that, it's not that easy actually. And whom he mentions here, froggish philosophers. The terminology that he has used for the philosophers in the modern era is froggish. Because everything is depending upon their limited intelligence and they are making research, some shodhan. The word itself says that already it is there and they are redigging it. Means wasting of time. And second thing, he says, mundane wranglers in the science. The so-called scientists, they are considered as wranglers. What's the proper meaning of word wrangler?
One meaning of it, and I don't think one meaning is sometimes when you're taking herds of cows over a wrangler, somebody would take a rope and catch them. Twist things. Essentially twist things.
Twist things. Generally, by definition, wrangler means the person who is in charge of horses, or the person who is engaged in lengthy and complicated disputes. And who are they? Our most intellectual scientists. They are. Prabhupada calls them as mundane wranglers. What do they do? Their mathematical calculations they wanted to make through that there is a Lord or not, there is existence of God or not. And you can't just conceive these things by your mundane intelligence. They are sometimes puzzled by the wonderful jugglery of a man and nature. Such a jugglers and magicians of the mundane world are actually puzzled by the jugglery of the Lord in his transcendental activities. Can you imagine? I was just wondering, day before yesterday, someone showed me some video, how this thundering, lightning, that burns down everything. There was a cyclone, everywhere there is a water, and all of a sudden from lightning that came down and that uh, just smashed upon one tree. It's a huge tree. That what you can call it? Stem, not stem. What do you call it?
Trunk.
Trunk of the tree that fell directly on that tree, and that lightning went inside the tree, and the trunk started burning inside. All the branches, and there was such a tremendous cyclone. Everywhere there is a water, and in midst of that water, that fire is burning like someone is pouring like a petrol and lightning that tree. Can you imagine who can do that?
Lord.
And how he does, you can't understand through your intelligence. The material things you are not able to understand what he does, and how you can understand the spiritual things that he does with you. None of the scientific instrument is able to map how the consciousness is developing. Each and every moment, how it is developing. Generally, previously they came up with the theory that at a certain age, certain part of the brain that becomes blocked. And you use only a small part of your brain, and that goes continuously throughout your life. That is rubbish. Somebody from London has come up with a new research about that. And she says that each and every moment your brain is developing. And then she showed through the machine, or that MRI machine, that how when you start learning something, anything, at the age of 70 also, if you start learning the kartal, one tal, that time your brain is developing. Brain is releasing some of the chemicals that generally comes when someone is learning something. So to understand your brain itself, you don't have a brain. Can you imagine? To understand our own brain, we don't have our brain to understand that. Then what to speak of such a gigantic Virata Purusha who has all these bodily limbs? See, these things need to be studied and understood. And that's why Lord is called as Avakam Manaso Agocharaha. You can't understand Lord through Vak, means Vani, means speech, through your mind, which is most potential thing in this material world. Mind can do such a things that you can't fathom that. And subtler than the intelligence. If the subtle things they are not able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then what to speak of this material senses, this body through which you can acquire the knowledge? That's not possible. And the people, through their bodily senses, acquire the knowledge and becomes jugglers or expert in few things. Prabhupada says here, such a jugglers and magicians of a mundane world are actually puzzled by the jugglery of the Lord in his transcendental activities. But they try to adjust their bewilderment by saying that it is all mythology. How this word came in existence? Mythology. Huh?
They are saying this is Christian mythology, um, Muslim mythology, Hindu mythology. They are saying they're putting videos, all these things.
In other words, they're saying that God is not real, because mythology is not history. It's these stories. So what Steve was saying to me is,
Like they are making videos and like Ganesha, Hanumana stories, that's real. And then they have to, this is according to the Hindu mythology. They are like writing
they should say into the scriptures,
yeah, Hindu.
because somebody's saying all this stuff is mythological. Like Mickey Mouse.
I can do that.
As per the dictionary meaning, the mythology is a collection of myths, especially one belong to particular religious, cultural, or cultural traditions. Hmm.
So you are
Myth means traditional stories, supernatural beings and their tales. And the second meaning is a widely held but false belief or idea. Generally, people they consider only the second meaning of myth. But the actual meaning, the first meaning is traditional story. Not necessary that all traditional stories are fact, because few things they comes like that. But there are actual aspects, which is known as a history rather than the myths. And people, what do they think? If they are not able to fathom things through their material senses, they consider as a second meaning of myths. That is false beliefs, or maybe supernatural beings who has done something and their events. But that does not mean that things are happen randomly or they don't have any facts or figures. But as per the Vedic history, which is known as a Sanatana, eternal, this history gives you the idea about the omnipotent Lord. How he is omnipotent. And it needs a faith. If you don't have faith, then he also can't help you. He never does just jugglery, or he is not just magician. If someone takes out some paper flower, people think he's a great magician. Someone takes out some ash from his hand, they consider him as a
Trickster.
stricter. What?
He's really a trickster.
Trickster. Huh? But just imagine, from the seed, how trees are coming up, and huge trees. Who is creating that? Is there any laboratory which can create seeds? People are saying human being has made such a tremendous development, they can compete with God. In what? In destruction only, not in creation. They can compete with the God. Even that also they can't do even.
He can destroy things
so fast.
Like they built the Titanic and they called it as it will not sunk, unsinkable, unsinkable, unsinkable. What they call? Boat. No. What? Boat. Unsinkable. And what happened? In the first voyage itself,
It's saying in the deepest part of the ocean.
in the deepest part of the ocean it sank. And that's why it is said. They sometimes puzzled by the wonderful jugglery of man and nature. That's the jugglery of nature that crashed on the ice. What they call that ice?
Iceberg.
Iceberg. They fathomed something and it was something else. So that was the interaction of or jugglery of man and nature.
Even while we were sinking, we were telling people it's okay.
It's okay, no worries. Yeah, we are all going to die.
I mean, we're all going to swim.
There is, however, nothing impossible or mythological in the Supreme Omnipotent Person. The most wonderful puzzle for the mundane wranglers is that while they remaining calculating the length and breadth of the unlimited potency of the Supreme Person, his faithful devotees are set free from the bondage of material engagement simply by appreciating the wonderful jugglery of the Supreme in the practical field. Here we have an example for that. People, they try to I was seeing one video. There's one temple in Andhra Pradesh that belongs to Lord Shiva. And it is a miraculous temple actually. The way they have done the architecture of that temple, the whole day there will be shadow on Shivlinga. How it comes, from where it comes, because there are 8 pillars in front of the main door. But exactly they can't make it out which pillar shadow is falling on that Shivlinga. It's there. They call it as a Chaya Lingeshwara. The temple is known as a Chaya Lingeshwara. As explained here, that nothing is impossible and mythological. People may think it's myth, nothing, it's something supernatural. No. In our Shilpa Shastra, the books of architecture, it has clearly given how to make such a kind of a buildings. There is a huge temple in Tanjavur, in Tamil Nadu. The shadow of main Kalasha on the Shikhar, that never falls on the ground. And that is one of the huge temple of Lord Shiva in the whole world. Actually, you can say in the universe, because we don't know other part of the universe what happens, but we can say. But it is. In one temple, they have 500 Shivalingas. Can you imagine? And that Nandi was increasing in his height. It went up to 12 feet, and one devotee requested him, now stop it, don't grow. He stopped. Huge 12 feet Nandi. That Shivalinga also was growing. When they brought it from Narmada, that was very small, like 2.5 feet. It has grown up to 12 feet. So these are the miraculous things that Lord manifests. And you can't fathom them through your own limited intelligence. Then further it is said, the most wonderful puzzle of the mundane wranglers is that while they remain calculating the length and breadth of the unlimited potencies of the Supreme Person, his faithful devotees are set free from the bondage of material engagement simply by the appreciating the wonderful jugglery of the Supreme in the practical field. An example is of that cobbler. A cobbler and Brahmana. Brahmana was studying Vedas, following all the rules and regulations, doing his Trikala Sandhya. He asked Narada, if you are going to Vaikunta, just ask their lordship that when I am coming back. And just opposite to that Brahmana, underneath the tree, there was one cobbler who used to sit and regularly stitch and repairs his shoes. And he was also devotee of the Lord. When Naraji asked him, then he just asked, just let me know, if you go there, just let me know what he's doing there. That's it. He said, you don't want anything else? He said, that's enough for me. When Narada went there, he saw, and the Lord asked him, yes, Devarshi, what is that? What brought you here? He said, my Lord, I met two personalities, and one of them I was asking when he will come back to you. The Lord said he will take maybe another 10 births. And that was Brahmana, who was following all rules and regulations, studying the Vedas, Trikala Sandhya, everything. And Naraji never asked anything about the cobbler. He just asked, the other person wanted to see that what you are doing. Then Lord tell him that, just go and tell him that Lord is threading elephant from needle eye. He is passing through the elephant from eye of the needle. Narada was shocked. I have to tell him. Yeah, you tell him. Then he said, when that person will come back? He said, this is his last time. He will be with me in his next. So Naraji came down. And he told Brahmana, this is what Lord had said, that it will take another 10 births for you to go back to him. Brahmana got disturbed. He said, how it is happening? I'm following all the Vedic rules, regulations, this, that, and you are telling me that I will go after 10 births? Okay, let me know what Narayana was doing there. Then Naraji said he was passing the elephant through the eye of the needle. He said, are you kidding with me or what? Is it possible to pass through that elephant from the eye of the needle? You are lying. That means you are lying that I am going after 10 births. Definitely I am going to this. So he just neglected Narada Rishi's answers and his report about what's happening in Vaikunta. Then Naraji went to the opposite side and met that cobbler. The cobbler, when he saw Naraji, got up, he offered pranams and asked, yes, Devashinar, what my Lord was doing there? He said, he was passing through that elephant from the eye of the needle. That person started jumping. How wonderful, see my Lord. He can do anything. He said, is he crazy or what? That person thought Naraji is crazy, and Naraji is thinking that now this cobbler is crazy or that. He believed that. Do you think is it possible? He said, why not? Then he lifted one fruit on the ground. He opened that and he showed it to Naraji. He said, what is this? Naraji said, this is Ashwatha fruit. He said, how many seeds are there? He said, there are many more. If my Lord, this huge tree in one of this seed, then how it is impossible for him to pass through that elephant from the eye of the needle? He has a logic behind it. Blind faith. Devotees are not full. They are not dumb. They are not just emotional full. They are intelligent. They know what should be understood and how it should be applied in our life. And here it is. The mundane wrangler wanted to try to fathom the Lord's potency, and the other side, devotee, he appreciates that potency and he gets rid of this material world. That's the glory of Lord's potencies. Supreme in the practical field, the devotees of the Lord see the wonderful dexterity in everything with which they come in contact in all circumstances of eating, sleeping, working, etc. A small banyan fruit contains thousands of small seeds, and each seed holds the potency of another tree, which again holds the potency of many millions of such fruits and effects. So the tree and seeds engage the devotees in the meditation about the activities of the Lord, while the mundane wranglers waste time in dry speculation and mental concoction, which are fruitless in both this life and next. In spite of their pride in speculation, they can never appreciate the simple potential activities of banyan tree. Such a speculators are poor souls destined to remain in the matter perpetually. So any question, any doubt, or anything, anywhere you need more explanation regarding today's discussion?
It's a very interesting explanation.
Uh,
It's a very interesting explanation and example.
yeah. Everything in Srimad Bhagavatam is interesting if you are attentive. If you are not attentive, everything is boring. Each and every verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, because that was spoken on the crucial time of one of devotee's life. He's supposed to leave his body. So definitely what was narrated to him must be a potential and most important and most crucial thing that they have explained. Really? Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki. See, actually the things they are explained in Srimad Bhagavatam are so important, and it answers all your questions. Whatever you have, you may going to have it, or you may had it. Everything they are explained here very nicely. So what it needs? Your keen dedication to hear that. What do you need? A keen interest to hear that. Keen. K.
Have a keen interest.
Yes. With the interest, if you hear that, it makes a lot of difference. Generally what happens, we try to understand through our material intelligence. But if you really dedicate yourself, when you try to understand by the mercy, when you pray to their Lordship before you start hearing about this knowledge, definitely it helps you to understand. But whenever we try to understand things through our own capacities, then that creates a problem. Why we start this, why we chant these prayers before starting Srimad Bhagavatam? So that by their mercy, we can understand this knowledge. Otherwise, Lord's mercy, you will not be able to understand anything. Lord says, Matta smritir jnanam apochanam cha. From me, the knowledge and everything comes.